I'm so excited that we're doing this. Okay, well, in case you don't know me, in case you've been living under a fucking rock, hi, I'm Yasmine Hamadi, and this is Main Character with Yasmine. I am so excited. I'm so excited for this podcast. You're probably wondering, why am I alone? What am I doing in a random room? What is happening right now? We are not at Crooked anymore. Josie and Alicia are not here. I'm alone. I'm doing this. If you don't know what the tea is, well, there is no tea. Go watch the last episode of Dare We Say. Well, Jesus Christ, we are a couple of months post Dare We Say, and we are alone doing this podcast. I mean, just off the bat, how are you? How are you doing? How's your summer been? Amazing, great, good, cool. Anyways, moving on, housekeeping. I kind of see you all, the listeners, of what this is. And I'll explain in a second, but bear with me. I'll explain what this is. I see you all as my board of directors. This is a major corporation. Think like the 170th floor on a New York skyrise. Like that's where, like Succession. Think Succession, but not how it plummets and goes downhill and Tom Wam's scam like takes over. Sorry, spoiler alert, sue me. Like that's not what this is, but think something like it, right? I need you as my board of directors to invest in me. I need, like, this is Shark Tank, honey. We are all the sharks and the topics are the tank. Does that make sense? Like, that's exactly what this is you guys, all of us are trying to invest in whatever the topic may be. So there might be topics like, why do I feel like I think about death every single day and I wake up thinking about that I'm going to die any second? Or like, is it normal to orgasm at the Equinox Hollywood every time I do leg lifts? Like, is that normal? I really hope it is, because I can't be the goddamn only one doing that. Or like, why is it that I feel so much pressure to have kids before the age of 30, but I don't even know if I want kids because the climate is dying at an abnormal rate? Do you know what I mean? That's the type of shit that we're going to be talking here at Main Character with Yasmine. And the reason why it's called Main Character is because aren't we all just the main character? Our own lives. I kind of see it as like this is like our life is a massive book, right? We have a massive book with different chapters. Like right now I could be in chapter 18, right? And I'll reference back to chapter 12 at one point, but then I don't even know what the is gonna happen in chapter 32, you know, like that. And we are the protagonist, we are the main character, and everything around us, whether that be friends, lovers, family, careers, hobbies, experiences, are the supporting roles. And sometimes the biggest antagonist of your own life is yourself. At least that's what I feel like. And a lot of this came to me at the end of Dare We Say. I felt like a massive failure. I already felt like I had so much writing on this because two reasons. Choosing to do something in the arts is literally the last resort. People, I'm sorry, like unless you're like a Nepo baby, which by the way, love Nepo babies. Say what you want about them, love them. I'm a network baby. I won't be explaining further. I will be explaining further. I'll just be in the right rooms at the right times and I'll just make conversation with people if I think the conversation will be fruitful. That's networking. Nepo, mommy and daddy did not bring me into Hollywood. Going back to what I was originally saying, I had a lot writing on this because my parents never wanted me to do the arts. You know, like coming from an Arab household, I was meant to do, you know, math and like anything in STEM or go into law or take over the family business, but anything but the arts, you know? And I understand their point of view with that, right? Like you don't want your kid to fail. My dad always said this saying where it was like, failure is not an option. Failure is never an option, no matter what it is. Don't you dare fail. You will succeed. I'll touch on that in a second. And the second reason is that I felt like I was so close. Like as an artist and creative myself, a multifaceted woman, like this was my next step in my career of what I can do to make my impact. And going back to the first point of failure is not an option, I think the failure to main character pipeline is insane. How without these failures and like these intense failures, you wouldn't be the main character of your own storyline. Without these failures, you wouldn't have the career that you're meant to have. And failure is most definitely an option because failure is inevitably going to be an option. Okay, that was kind of good. I should make a podcast about it. Oh, wait, here we are. And number two, the second part still hurts me of like why I felt like I was so close. I was so close to actually, or what I felt like was like just the beginning of my career. Next, I'll get signed into a massive agent or a massive manager in Hollywood. Boom, an audition, A24 film with Timothée Chalamet. Done. Oh, wait, Sofia Coppola called. I'm now in her next movie. And I went to her. I'm going to the Met next year. No. But you know what they say when you plan, God laughs, the universe laughs. I thought and I guess that has to do with ego too, right? Like I just thought like, this is it. Like this is when the dominoes just start falling down and like everything starts working out. But I was so wrong. And I'm not saying this as like, oh, poor me. No, but I want to talk about the shit that I felt like a fucking failure because this was my one thing that I was doing. But all in all, the main reason why I wanted to do this podcast, with the chances that I miraculously and massively fail, is that I just want to see a bitch like me doing what I want to do. I never saw, as an Arab woman, Gen Zer, I never saw people like me in the media or people like me speaking their minds, speaking their truth in whatever aspect that is, whether it's about movies, politics, livelihood, fashion, comedy, anything that's not in STEM. And if I keep talking about it and saying, well, I don't like this, I don't like that, well, I need to just shut the fuck up and do something about it, right? I want to be the change I want to see. And that's exactly what this is. And like, come on. I'm a Leo. And I know people here will be like, oh, astrology doesn't exist. Actually, you're a liar and you're ugly and you're wrong. Astrology does exist. And as a Leo, I am the main character of my own life. I'm hot. I'm beautiful. I'm kind. And once again, I don't want this to sound like a pity party, but without failing, I wouldn't have been here or gotten here. And I'm so excited for this next chapter. This main character with Yasmine chapter, it's going to be a long one. And it might take a couple chapters. It might end at the end of the book. We all have a voice. It's our duty to use it. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So I want to talk about what's in it for you, right? Like as my stakeholders, like why should you invest in me, right? Like I want to be the person that you go to for anything. I want to be the podcast that is like your big sister, like your best friend, like the person that's going to hold you accountable for when you accidentally steal something, like from an establishment. Like we all have done it. Like, have I stolen? Have I unknowingly stolen, like glass, like cutlery from a nice restaurant? Yes, I have. And I'll say that with my head held high. Yes, I have. I don't care what you have to say about it. But there's things that I want you to expect from this podcast. This is not just to talk or chat shit about. This is something that I want you guys to come to for hard conversations, for debates, to talk about the newest trends that are coming in and out of style, to talk about what is it that we're actually doing on this earth and why are we here, to talk about policy and laws that are happening in the United States. Like, I want to be that for you. I have a couple of cute things that I have going on. There is a segment called Allegedly News. Allegedly News. That's going to be every couple of weeks where I talk about what the fuck have you missed in pop culture and in the news today. I'm going to dress up in a cute suit. I might be naked with just a tie covering me. And what I'll be talking about is in the news. Allegedly. Honestly, everything's allegedly for me because I genuinely feel like what is actually real. Nothing's real anymore. Also, we're going to talk about trend forecasting. We're going to I'm the weather girl. I'm your little weather girl. I'm going to be so hot and sexy with my little weather suit. I'm going to tell you what the weather's like except for trends, what's in and what's out. Because I feel like it's more than just what's in fashion for trends, but different trends holistically. Also, there's going to be a trend episode in the chokehold that it has on us that it's going to be very interesting. I'm going to do really cool interviews. So I have a list of people that are already on board that I'm going to be interviewing for this podcast. Yes, you've heard their voices before and some you've never even heard of. Like, I might be interviewing my 95-year-old grandfather who fought in the war in Lebanon and was like a military man, like that army man, but also gave me a standing ovation when I did the vagina monologues and I had to fake 16 orgasms on stage when I was 15 in high school. Yes, he supports the arts. Thank you very much. But I want to bridge that gap with, not even bridge the gap. I want to have conversations that you wouldn't just have. I want to discuss things with people I don't agree with. I want to discuss things with people I do agree with. I feel like if we don't have these conversations, whether they be hard or easy or fun or not, then what's the point of even doing anything? Every week, you'll be getting a different episode.
Some episodes will be fun, some episodes won't be. And that's something you're just gonna have to brace yourself with. But there's one thing, if there's one thing, maybe two things that you should expect every single week is A, I'm gonna look fucking hot, and B, I'm gonna invoke thought. Hot and thought. Fuck yourself. Like, genuinely, that's the only thing I want from this podcast. Because I'm still learning things about me. I'm still trying to figure out my main character moment. I'm still trying to figure out how to successfully maneuver all of this when I don't have a team of people helping me with this. I'm grateful. I do have a producer that's helped me with the editing, but other than that, this is on me. I don't want to go back to the whole failure part of it. Oh, I feel like, feel bad for me. I'm the failure. No, but like, truthfully, this is the fourth time I'm doing this first episode. I've recorded this first episode 4 different times, full way through. 35 minutes, 45, an hour, 20 minutes. I've done this episode. This is my 4th time. And the reason why I'm even bringing that up is because every single time I did it, I felt like a failure. I felt like this was horrible. No one will relate to this. No one's going to find this entertaining. No one's going to want to honestly every Thursday come back to my page and listen to it or watch it. And when you hear that part of your brain that's talking, that's the antagonist part of the main character storyline. That is literally the person working against you. And that's yourself, myself. But here I am, microphone in front of me, headphones in, camera. Hi there. And we're doing it again. And who knows, maybe I won't like it this time too. And I'll do it. But then it's like at some point we always want to be perfect. And I feel like that's the problem with social media and the news and society, that we all have to be so perfect and we are so terrified to fail. And I know this podcast episode is going all over, but just bear with me. This is not going to be perfect. This is going to be messy. This is going to be fucking gnarly, man. No, it's going to be hectic and chaotic, but chaotic good, obviously, because I am chaotic good, if you understand. But it's going to be worth it, because I will guarantee you, after every episode that you listen to or watch, you're going to think about something. You're going to reflect about something within yourself or within the people around you. I'm going to invoke thought, and you're going to look real hot doing it. Rupi Kaur, where are you? Like, that's all I want. And there's so many main character stories that I've heard in my lifetime. From my friends, from my parents, from a random clerk at a seamstress store that I get my pants altered at. Like, everyone has their own main character story. Every day we do things that make us the main character. We only have one life to live. Might as well make the most of it, or what else is the point? And I keep going back to saying that. And I guess the premise of this episode is to introduce you to the podcast and also what it means to fail. I failed. My old podcast failed. Everything that I thought I would be doing, I'm not doing. I failed. But what an exciting thing that is. That is so, to me, and this has been with a lot of therapy, I'll tell you that. Like, how exciting is that? I failed. And then I left my job, and then I failed even more because I'm like, how do I have an income now? And then I'm like, oh, I don't even know where I'm going to live because I'm moving out of LA. But then I think about it now, with all my stuff in my car, packed up my bags from LA, in my best friend's house, because I don't have a place to live right now. And I'm going home back to the Bay Area. That is such an entrancing storyline. Like, if that was a Sofia Coppola film or an A24 movie, like, no one would bat an eye. So why the fuck am I batting an eye if it's my life? But I'm switching this around. I know this is going to be an incredible fucking podcast. I know people are going to listen to it. People are going to laugh. People are going to cry. It's not going to always be fun and entertaining. It's going to always be entertaining. Come on. It's me. But like, it's not going to always be fun and exciting, but it's going to be damn near enchanting. It's going to be good. I don't know why I said enchanting, but I'm going to go with it. I just failed, right? Look, everything in life is a fucking failure if you really think about it. Why do we make such a big deal about it? I think there's also pressure, obviously, being I'm daughter of immigrants, Arab woman. I'm not saying I'm not, like, I'm a very privileged human, I'll tell you, but like terrified to fail. But kind of excited because now, switching it around, making a good ass podcast, I'm doing the damn thing. I packed up my bags. I don't have any work. I'm looking for work. I'm trying out different avenues of how to make an income. B. C. Know where to live. Okay, I'm saving up. I'm going to New York. That's a fucking main character moment. Also, I'll have another episode later on about being a main character from LA to New York. Two main characters. That's what I'm excited about. Now, before I talk to you guys about one of my favorite main character stories, and there's so many, this one's actually one of my favorites. Before I do that, I wanted to give you like a little taste, something chewy, something to marinate on before you hear me for the second time when I come out with episode 2 next week. I wanted to get you in the main character spirit. Forget the holiday spirit and the spirit of joy. I want to get you in the main character feeling. Now close your eyes. If you're driving, keep driving with your eyes closed. I'm kidding. But close your eyes or whatever you're doing. Feel like you're in the moment. And imagine yourself. It's a classroom, okay? You sit in the front and center, and the person who's teaching the class is you, main character. Get that favorite tote bag out. Get your headphones in. Get that Bella Hadid core out. Keep walking to the beat of your own drum, honey. To your favorite song. Mine is Somebody to Love by Queen. What is yours? Pick that. Strut, mama. That is a main character. Painting your nails your favorite color, that is a main character. Taking the fattest shite in all of the United States and knowing you got everything out of your system, that is a main character moment. All those little moments that happen every single day. We need to celebrate those moments. Marinate in them, not in the shit exactly, but in that moment. Do you see what I'm saying? I just think it's kind of like romanticizing your life, glorifying it, and making it worthwhile. We're only here for so long. Make it special. And I know that sounds like, oh, we'll just live in the moment. Shut up, first of all. But actually, it's true. Like, people who are like, oh, just live in the moment. Genuinely, shut up. Shut up. You know, the HRH collection, shut up. But like, you're right, you know? Anyways, this is getting too deep, and I feel like you guys are going to actually shit your pants if you don't hear this main character story. So get ready. This is one of my favorites. So this is sophomore year, college. So this is when like the nicest thing I'd be drinking is a peach New Am with Red Bull. Like that was what my diet consisted of. Peach New Am, Trader Joe's frozen meals, and a Red Bull. Like that is all I drank. Celsius wasn't alive back then, believe it or not. And so I was going out that night with a bunch of my friends, and I was in a sorority. Yes, I was. We were going to a frat house. I know I want to throw up, but it's fine. And we were having the best night ever. I was like, oh my God, like we got to just rally. Rallying was the whole name of the game, right? But the next morning, I had a flight at like 11 a.m. to the Bay Area, and I went to school in Orange County. Yeah, I know. And I went to school in Orange County, so I had to be up really early to get onto the flight, but not too early, right? So I'm like drinking, and I end up finishing almost a full fifth of the peach New Am. I don't know how my 5'3", 5'2" and a half body did that without combusting and like dying, but we did it. Nevertheless, she persisted, and that's on feminism. And so I was just hammered, and we end up getting home at around like 2 a.m. But like I wake up at 4 a.m., right? I only got 2 hours of sleep. I was tossing and turning. I was throwing up. I looked disgusting. I couldn't even take my makeup off. And I was just like, I'm pretty sure I'd vomit in my hair still. Like it was not good. I had really shitty fake tanner, like blotching off. I was sweaty. It was bad. And I said to myself, oh my God, you know, what would be perfect right now is if I was home so like my mom and dad can take care of me. And so I was still drunk at this point. So my stupid mind decided to change my Southwest flight from the 11 a.m. flight to the 6 a.m. flight. I don't know what demon possessed me to do that because this was one of the worst decisions I've ever made in my life. But I kept going. So I packed up my stuff. I didn't even pack anything. I just packed my laptop, my school stuff, and like a pair of underwear to change at the airport. And that was it. And then I called the Uber. The Uber came. And when the Uber came, I was like, to Santa Ana Airport, blah, blah, blah. We're driving on the highway. I tell him, please pull over. I stop, I open the door. It's straight out of like a 90s like rom-com. And I projectile vomit out in the highway, and people are honking, and I'm like, keep driving, shut the door. We keep driving. And then we get to the airport. I go through security so fast. I'm dry heaving in the toilet at the airport. And I'm like still vaping at this time. So I'm like inhaling my Juul as I'm throwing up. I know my body hates me. And then I get on the plane. I'm like, this can't get any worse. worse. I'm having cold sweats. I feel horrific. But then I have an old man sitting next to me and he smells horrific. And then to my right, of course, by the way, I'm in the middle seat, right? And then to my right, I have a woman and her baby crying. The woman is crying too, by the way, may I add. Like, I don't know what was going on with her, but she was sobbing while her baby was crying. And I was like, fuck me. And then I was like, before we take off, like, I need to go to the restroom. I have to pee so badly, even though I didn't need to pee. I needed to vomit. Then the flight attendant was like, no, we're about to take off. I need you to take your seat. And I'm half standing up, half sitting down. I'm like, no, like, you don't understand. Like, I will projectile vomit anywhere. And all this lady does is just, she snaps her fingers and looks and points down to like the little baggy area, you know, where you like in behind every seat, they have the bag. And so we're about to take off. I have the baggie and I'm breathing into it. I'm trying to listen to some like, I don't know, Khalid music at the time, just something calming. I don't want to hear the baby crying. I'm smelling like very bad BO from this geriatric gentleman to my left. And we're going up. And as we're taking off, that is when I start vomiting. But instead, because you're at the angle where you're going up, instead of me vomiting downwards, I'm vomiting back into my throat. So I vomit out and I'm like literally drinking my own spew as we're taking off. And then I get vomit all over me. It is disgusting. It is absolutely horrific. And then I fall asleep with vomit still in that bag. And that lady was like, oh, you made a mess. And I was like, you fucking bitch. But you know what? Like, she was serving for whatever reason. I don't know. I hate her. If you're listening to this and you are her, I don't know what your name is. Fuck you. And so we get to San Jose Airport. I throw up again. I like wash up myself. By the way, have not told my parents yet that I have arrived in the Bay Area. So they have no idea. So I arrive at like 7:15 a.m. and I all of a sudden just knock on my front door. I Ubered. The Uber was horrific, but I think my body was so exhausted that like it had nothing else to spew. It had nothing else to give. It was my last straw. This was a straw that broke the camel's back. And I'm not saying camel because I'm an Arab. And if you thought there was any correlation to that, I'm looking right at you. And I get home, my parents like, I literally show up, you know, like 6-year-olds when they're younger and they like show up to like the edge of their parents' bed and they're like, I threw up right now. Like that was me. I don't know how, like I got in because there was a key that I had. And so I showered, I cleaned myself up. Throughout the day, I was vomiting as I got my nails done with my sister. And all in all, to all of that, you're probably wondering, what does that have to do with anything to do with this podcast? It has everything to do with this podcast because even though it was a horrific moment, I was still the goddamn main character. I'm excited to take you on this journey. Let's fucking go. Make sure to like, subscribe, download all future Main Character with Yasmine episodes, and major thank you to our incredible editor and producer, Max Shepardson. I'll see you next week. Bye.